My bad. Sorry, bro.
No, go ahead, do it.
Jit Camp Bonfire Podcast, episode 18. And today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with the Monotone Samurai, Chester Watson.
Yo.
What's up, bro? How you been?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good. How you been?
I'm chilling, man. How's it feel to be back in St. Pete for a little bit?
Oh, man, it feels good. Feels like home, honestly. So, definitely feels good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, bro. Thank you. So I remember, I swear I either found your Facebook or one of my homies' Facebooks, and it had like a link to your SoundCloud on it from back in the day. And this was like back in the day, and I was like, dang, who's this dude? He's making these crazy like experimental boom bap beats and everything. And let's just talk a little bit about the early days and some of your early like beat making.
Hell yeah. So, definitely started here in St. Pete. I lived in, what was it? I lived in like P Park, St. Pete area, kind of on the bridge. And just like wanted to start making beats. I went to J-Hop, which is, downtown St. Pete. Was doing ballet there. So after I stopped doing that, I was just kind of like, all right, I still want to do something musically inclined, but I don't want to necessarily like move around and stuff like that. So I just started making music. At first it was just like writing to YouTube beats to kind of figure out sonically where I wanted to go. And then after a while I was like, there's no YouTube beat for what I'm trying to do. So that's why I started making beats and shit like that. And yeah, from there it just kind of spiraled. But Phantom, what blew me up, actually wasn't a beat that I made. It was like a remix. It was an MF Grimm beat. So definitely different. But I think me making my own beats and like, I guess being able to experiment like that kind of helped me build the way that I was gonna rap for shit like Phantom and stuff.
Is that how like the Guru tapes came about? Like it was just like a collection of beats you had?
Yeah, it was basically just like me like trying to like find what I was good at doing beat wise. Like it was more so like I would say like it was like training. Those were like practice, like training tapes, you know what I'm saying? Those were the first ones. And, at that point, those were the best beats that I had made. I look back on them now and I'm like, wow, they're not the best, which is why, I still release instrumental tapes and shit like that. So, yeah, but that's definitely how those came about. Just experimenting with sound, figuring out how to use programs, shit like that was definitely in those like formulative type of tapes.
Did you make the Honcho beat around that time?
Yeah, shout out to Rob Gallardo, goddamn. He's
Jit Camp Podcast alumni.
Yeah, he's the homie. It definitely made, I feel like that might have been like one of the last songs on that project, on one of the first Guru.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of surreal because, being so young, it kind of felt like what I was doing was just like kind of in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then having, Gallardo and Crown hop on my beat, which was like, for one, Gallardo didn't rap. So it was just like, what? I seen it because I came home from school one day and I just seen they dropped it. And I was like, wait, what? And just the way that he did that, I was just like, damn, that's crazy. Like the fact that he even wanted to rap on one of my beats was surreal because I didn't even know him as a rapper. I knew him as a videographer. So It was dope in a lot of ways, and it was definitely encouraging, subtly. You know what I'm saying? Like keep going, and a whole bunch of people were that way. Goody, I think that was his old name. You know what I'm saying? He was super. I remember he like mastered a song for me super early on, like kind of like, yo, this is kind of how it's supposed to sound type shit. So I like kind of everybody really like, tapped in, at least in some way, one way or another, and like showed respect. So definitely was surreal at that time. Yeah, it was dope. But yeah.
Shout out to Datasync. He's the homie. I got to get him on here soon.
Yeah, he's elusive. He's an elusive guy. Like, I seen him one time at Art Basel at like or it was 3 Points. I seen him in Miami, and then I seen him up here at like a house party one time. But good dude, good dude. Very, very inspirational. Honestly, I love his like his just his whole like his mantra and kind of how he moves and his aesthetic and how he presents himself is very dope.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah! Shout out Data.
So let's get into Tin Wookie. Is that it's a very boom bap inspired project, I would say, but it
Yeah.
still had a little bit of experimental vibes to it. Was that like production handled by you, or was it you and a bunch of other people?
Yeah, that one was. So Tin Wookie was like, that was me like meeting everybody after Phantom. Was kind of what Tin Wookie was. It was like a culmination of like all the people that I had met and like clicked with right after Phantom happened. So Phantom brought me to a whole bunch of people who, you know, I wouldn't have been able to reach. They didn't know I existed. I didn't know they existed. But, you know, through God, I would say, divine intervention, we met. And, you know, Tin Wookie has like Simon on there, has Mejiwan on there, it has Krista, K Radio's on there. There's a lot of really dope people on there that are Gabe's on Tin Wookie. Like, damn, Tin Wookie was stacked. It was like 28 tracks, so it had like hella people on there. And it was definitely my longer project, and I think it definitely cemented me as like, okay, he's a good rapper. It wasn't just like a one-time thing, because every song on Tin Wookie, I listened to it like not too long ago, and I was like, wow, this is dope, because I wouldn't have worded the shit. Those same beats given to me today, I may not have even used them, and if I did, I would not have written it the same way. So it's just like interesting to see like how my brain was back then, and where it is now, and the similarities to like the shit that I still relate to. Most of it, if not all of it, I still relate to. It's just like, damn, it was dope. So Tin Wookie was definitely a crazy time. It was 2014. I think I was about to turn 17 or some shit like that. So I was still super young, still in high school. And yeah, it was crazy.
Hell yeah. Phantom is definitely a classic. I got a written review, 727 Classic, coming for Tin Wookie soon.
Appreciate that.
Coming soon.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
So then after that one, you dropped the Autumn Mirage tape.
Yeah. There was, damn. We dropped a few. There was like, so.
And Summer Mirage.
And there was summer, there was spring, and then there was autumn. There was, only one I didn't drop was winter. And you know what's ironic? Was winter was supposed to be the first one. And then that one just never ended up dropping. So like Winter Mirage was Summer Mirage, but it was supposed to be longer. And then I was just like, nah, I can make it different. And then just dropped Summer Mirage, which was like crazy because there's a lot of bangers on Summer Mirage. And I didn't realize it. I kind of like, it was one of those projects where like you're not necessarily insecure about the music, but it's not necessarily the music that you're focused on. So it was like that. And then it ended up being like, obviously the songs were good, and it just kind of ended up being like its own thing. Like that's a lot of people's favorite project for me is Summer Mirage. And then Spring Mirage I did with Kent, one off. Very hard to find. I think we tried to scrub the internet of that one, but it's dope. It's still a dope project, but it's very like experimental, and you can see like where me and Kent kind of like branched off from that project, and what I took from it and what Kent took from it. If you listen to it, or if you can listen to it, I know there's CDs of it, but like I said, it's not on streaming services. I think the only place it might be is like Bandcamp or some shit like that. But yeah, spring and then autumn. Yeah, there's that trilogy of the Mirages, and I still want to do Winter Mirage one day, but I don't even know when. That's something I haven't thought about in a while. But yeah, good times. That was just a a crazy time of me, like I said, experimenting. Like all of those songs and all of those projects are so different. Um, it was fun. It was a fun time.
Was that like around the start of the New Age Syndicate, or?
No, that was definitely into it, like pretty deep into it already. Like New Age started in high school, so like this was all of those were like post high school. Like we had already graduated and like we had already worked plenty of times before then. I'm trying to think. Like that was definitely kind of like deeper into it, but that was definitely the start of my and Kent's like working so heavily together was Spring Mirage. Like before that we worked, like I would give him beats and like we would write and shit, but like it was never like it was never like that. And I think we found our chemistry on Spring Mirage, and from there we kind of like developed it into different ways. So yeah, Spring Mirage is not a bad project, but I guess you could say musically that was kind of the beginning because that was when me and Kent really started doing a lot of songs together. But yeah, after that, it kind of they really all took a mind of their own as soon as we released them. But some did better than others, and every project was an experiment. It's always an experiment releasing shit. It's always how can we do something different to get it out, or how can we do something different to make it more us or make it more sound like how we feel. How can we do that more accurately? And I think we just keep on fine tuning and getting better at that. So that's really kind of was, but nah, not when we met.
Yeah, I love your tracks. Like I Can't Lie. That one's really fire. I like how whenever you do production for them, those are always like the best tracks. But you guys kill it. Kent Loon's one of the best.
Shout out to Kent. Yeah, I mean, I love Kent over my production. I feel like he shines the most on my production because he basically we built his sound together, me and Kent. Like making beats for Kent showed me a lot about how to make beats. So like even my sound is tethered to Kent's in a way because of what I learned making beats for him. So I feel like throughout that process, I definitely was able to like shine light on him more so and figure out how to do that better and like figure out which beats complement him. And obviously he's there with me so he can actually give input on the beats as well. And then after a while you just kind of get into like all right, this is Kent's vibe, this is like what Kent would get on, something like that. And it's not necessarily like a challenge to make those type of beats. It's more so inherent to like, all right, how are we feeling today? Let's try and make that, like I said, what's the best way that we can describe and I guess encapsulate the feeling that we feel right now, however that feeling is. So, or whatever idea we're trying to get across, even if it's not something we're feeling and we're trying to build something and package it as like a complete emotional or physical or whatever type of entity. Definitely it's a lot that I feel like we bounce off of each other with.
So you dropped Past Cloaks, and that was like some songs from Tin Wookie and then some new songs. What was like the inspiration for that project, just to kind of put people back onto some of the older tracks if they like missed out?
Yeah, basically like we Jeff, my manager, he was like, yo, you have all these songs on SoundCloud that are not on streaming. He like, we need to do something about that, more or less. And I was reluctant to for a while, and then I ultimately didn't for a while. And that's why it kind of was delayed. But when it did come out, it did well. He was right, you know what I'm saying? When someone's right, they're right. So it's like he knew what he was talking about, and he knew, that aspect of how to, package all of the work that I had done. He was just like, bro, pick out all the songs you like that you've done from SoundCloud, whatever, and make it you. And then that's kind of where I came to like adding all the vocal samples and shit, like all the skits and stuff like that. Definitely heavy doom influence, but like it was all old work, so I didn't want it to seem like it was anything current. So I named it Past Cloaks. It's just like different jackets, different cloaks, different things that I've done in the past or worn, or things that I've done in the past, as opposed to what's going on now or in the future. Needed to emphasize that, and I think it did well because that emphasis was placed on it. Like, this is old shit, but it's old shit that you probably never heard, and we need to fix that, more or less. Was the thing, was like, this music's so good, it needs to be heard. So we had to basically structure it in a way that was digestible, and it, so like, even to people who had already heard the music, the sequencing of it felt new. So that was another advantage of that aspect of bringing it and making it like that. So it was definitely a wise move on Jeff's part, and take his advice pretty often at this point. So we're not doing too bad. So yeah, shout out to Jeff. That was definitely his idea.
So you followed that up with Project Zero. That was more, I felt like, instead of getting more of the boom bap influence, it was kind of like, yo, this is my sort of sound. Yo.
Yeah. Project Zero is definitely like, all right, this isn't the first project. This is like a experiment. This is like the incubus, or like, the first part of whatever I'm trying to build sonically. It was kind of refreshing to drop Project Zero, because it was just like, I don't necessarily need to be tied to, like you said, the boom bap shit that people knew me from for Phantom or for 10 Wookie. Even there was a lot of boom bap shit on there. So it's just like, I feel like with that, mentally I was like, all right, it's time to just do some different shit and really stretch myself vocally, production wise, like every way. Like, what can I do? What am I capable of? And that's why I started playing guitar. I started playing, I just started playing more bass, more instruments heavily, and that bled into the music. Like, I wanted it to feel more like what I was feeling, and I got better at doing that with Project Zero. Like, I honestly feel like that's a really good project, verbally, like with writing, because not all the beats I made on that project, but the way it was structured as well, it just felt cohesive. Like, I think that was something that I learned on that project as well, was like, all right, structuring stuff. And that was kind of in the process of me making, I want to say, a Japanese horror film. Like, a lot of the stuff, not a lot of the stuff, but like a good majority of the stuff that was on Project Zero was like me learning how to make this stuff for a Japanese horror film.
Chess Master is one of my favorite joints.
Yeah. Shout out to Kent. Shout out to my boy Kent. Yeah, that's something that I still reference to this day. Like, I just wrote a bar talking about Chess Master like yesterday. So it's like, that's the song that I still love, and it's something that I hold dear, and that's something that from Wu-Tang, and just like strategy in general, as a strategic type of person, something that I definitely lean heavily into, as far as like, how I move, I guess, would be the best way to say that.
So you brought up a Japanese horror film. On that album, I felt like you took another leap forward, and then you incorporated like a concept album. You sort of used to had the storytelling elements on like 10 Wookie with like the Axe series.
Yeah.
So you just like went full throttle with that on a Japanese horror film. So let's discuss that project.
Facts. Yeah. Japanese horror film definitely was like you said, concept album. And it was just like, with that one, it was just like, all right, like you said, with 10 Wookie, I tried it, but I was too young to really like have the, I guess, not resources, but like, for me personally, I didn't grow up as like a super musical person. So I was still learning a lot of how to structure stuff when I was making 10 Wookie. But by the time I got to a Japanese horror film, a lot had happened in between then, and I had learned a lot musically. So it was like, it was really like it was fun, but it was also like a task because you have to stick to the concept so heavily. And in the writing, you have to weave it in and out of this concept and your reality. So that's something that I learned to do with Japanese horror film, was how to be a more surrealist writer. I think that's something that definitely poked out and stood out for me personally, was okay, I have to blend this very vast concept of the Akashic records and afterlife and reincarnation and all of these things into hip hop, but also make it feel like something that hasn't already been done. So it was a lot of mental planning, and then a lot of stuff happened. Like I met a lot of people throughout that process. That's why there's a lot of people on that one, kind of like another Tim Wookie. It's still long form, and I just feel like, you know, within that you learn so much from these people. Like Max is on that project, Seema's on that project. That's when I first started working with Seema. Like I hit her up like, yo, I need someone to represent the feminine essence, more or less, of reality. And she was like, oh yeah, I love that. And so she literally just sang on the back of every single song. And shout out to Seema, Itaim, she is dope. Love to Lebanon. But yeah, I met so many people through that process and learned so much of how to work with not only my voice, but with other people's voices. So it taught me a lot. I think I learned a lot as well, like on the flip side of that coin, of what not to do. Like Tim, it was very, just to be critical, self-critical. It's not a bad album, but just in hindsight, it was long. And I feel like it would have been way longer, and I shortened it pretty much. It's like there was like 40 songs. Like there was a lot of songs. So we compressed the ideas a lot, and, you know, still had the storyline there. But I feel like I wish I could have compressed it more. That's one thing that I feel like I didn't drop the ball on, but I feel like if I had more knowledge of how to do that, I probably would have. I'm still learning that now, but I know that's something that, you know, I'm doing, you know, and incorporating. It's just more compressed type of shit like that, concise.
The instrumentation on that project was like crazy. It's like you did a really good job with like the concept, because I could like I remember listening to it at work, and I could like picture everything, and it just like set the vibe.
Thank you. It's I'm glad that was felt. It was intentional for sure. And yeah, I had help. It wasn't something that I was able to accomplish alone. As you can hear, there's many different voices on that album. So shout out to absolutely everyone, from Rhea to Fifi to Simon to Connie to Kent. There's like everybody, Max, everybody's on that album. Seema, a lot of people.
What are some of your favorite Japanese horror films?
Oh man, like in real life?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So House, I don't think that's Japanese, but it's definitely Oriental.
We screened that here.
You did?
Yeah, I have like a film series that I do, and that was the last one that we screened. Hausu.
It's a dope ass movie. Yeah,
it's a studio favorite.
crazy film. So that's one.
Hell yeah.
There's really a lot of Japanese interpretations of things that I like, more so than like I would like Japanese specific horror films.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so like this life, I'm in Japan and my life is a horror film, as opposed to like I'm drawing direct influences from Japanese horror films. 'Cause I would have sampled more. But yeah, House is probably one. That's really the only one that I could say that I drew any type of influence from, just because of the surrealist nature of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a good. There's a whole bunch though. I went on a binge of not just Japanese horror films, but just like movies in general while I was making a Japanese horror film, just to see how they structured and storyline stuff. And it was interesting, and in how, I guess, different cultures in general kind of bridge their ideas and their like how different cultures bridge their ideas and their messages, like what they're trying to get across. I think that was the most interesting part about that exploration, was like, in house there's not, is there a point to that movie? I don't know. It's fire though. It's shot really well. And that's
Yeah.
something that I learned, was that like, okay, not everything has to necessarily have a point, as long as there's intention behind something in that movie, or intention behind something in whatever you're doing. I watched what was it? Amelie. I watched Enter the Void. Like, I watched a whole bunch of like crazy, I wouldn't even say horror movies, but more like psychological movies.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what led to really, like, I guess not the name, but more so like the vibe of what Japanese horror film was.
I feel like you captured it pretty well, man. You nailed it.
Thanks. Thank you.
How did you shoot the Ronin video? Because that video is
man.
crazy.
Shout out to Firsty. He's like, so Firsty, that's all him, really. That's like his photography style, is like landscape, misty type of fire shit. He's up north, Pacific Northwest. So flew out there, and we had to schedule a time and really just like check off the list of like what we needed to do. Like, all right, we need this type of shot, we need a shot that's like this, we need some rapping scenes, we need however he felt like he wanted the video to look, really, because he directed it. I didn't really have a say. I was just like, all right, I kind of gave him an outline of what I wanted to do in the video, which was like the walking, and like I wrote like a super rough treatment for it. And from there, we kind of just like, all right, we got this walking scene, we got a scene where you're doing this or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of checking off the list. And he just had the locations that built that vibe, that fit. So shout out to First. He's an amazing photographer, director, cinematographer. He's dope.
I like that they shot it like in the cold too.
Bro,
it like
brick.
it added to like the
It was cold. It was
spirit,
December.
like atmosphere.
Yeah, it was fun. It was cold though. Like, I literally had to buy like gloves. Like, it was bad. But not the video, but like the cold,
Yeah.
bro. I wasn't used to it, especially like coming from like Florida.
Yeah.
And this is like I want to say like mid to late December. And bro, it was cold. I was not used to it. And shoes got messed up a bunch of times.
That's the worst.
It was fun. It was definitely a fun shoot though. Like, we went hiking to get to a lot of those spots. So it was dope. It was interesting. And yeah, I definitely appreciate the exploration, and just that it feels adventurous, the video, because like all of these spots are so like otherworldly. And he captured that so well. So shout out to Firsty.
So you followed that up with 1997, which was more of like a return to the boom bap vibe. It's a Doom tribute.
Yeah.
Let's get into that, because Sunbeam's one of my favorite tracks. I had it on one of my lists as like one of the top tracks of the year. That
Thank
project
you.
was on the list too.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, 1997 was like, it was like you said, it was kind of like just like all right, I'm going back to my roots. Like, let's see exactly what I've learned in this realm from everything that I've done. Let's see what I've learned and bring it back to what I ultimately not like hearing, but what I ultimately, I don't know, just like wanted to make right then. Like, I just felt like, all right, let me just make some straight bars, basically. That was a time when just a whole bunch of crazy stuff was going on. Like I had moved to Memphis for a while and just was really just kind of exploring all different types of things. Like that's when I started making clothes heavy. I was really just like, everything else in my life was kind of experimental. So I think in a way I wanted something that was like, all right, I know I can do this, but how can I do this in an elevated way? And I think that was 1997. Shout out to Danny Brown. He's on that one. Shout out to Jeff for making that happen. Javon, Simon, the homies. There's not too many on that project, but we did want to make it feel like, all right, damn, Chester, like, even though this is familiar, there's a whole bunch to this that's new. Like, never really worked with anyone as big as Danny.
Yeah.
Simon was still on that project. So there was a whole bunch of familiar aspects to it. But yeah, definitely wanted to make it feel like more down to earth and more like, okay, this is the Chester or the home or like the equilibrium type of sound.
Yeah, the beats on that joint are crazy, bro.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you, bro.
How'd you get that blue feature?
Simon. Shout out to Simon. He's that's Simon all the way. Literally every time. Anytime you see me with Blue, it's probably because of Simon. I can reach out to Blue.
He's one of my favorites.
We've talked a few times, yeah, but usually Simon, he like hit me up and be like, yo, I got this song with Blue, or like I'd make a song with Simon and then he'd be like, yo, you want to get a Blue verse on this? And then, because me and Blue, we're kind of like, we don't rap similar, but like our vibe is very like, we could be on the same playlist with a lot of our songs that are not together. So it makes sense a lot of the times when we work together. But most times that is facilitated by Simon. That's his homie. I have never met Blue, actually. I've talked to him a couple times, like messaged him, but never really talked to him too much. He's a really, really cool dude, though, from what I've experienced with him.
So the new album, it's dropping June 30th, right?
June 30th.
Fish Don't Climb Trees. I've heard it. I bought the vinyl on Vinyl Me Please.
Thank you.
It's fire. It's album of the year contender for sure. If
Thank
not,
you,
album
bro.
of the year.
Thank you.
Let's get into that joint, man.
I'm down. Yeah, it's different. It's different. What do you want to know about it?
It's fire. I think what I took from it was kind of like a fish out of water kind of story going on. I took some elements from that. East Ends is probably my favorite joint, along with Eyes Closed.
Word.
Eyes Closed is fire. You dropped the video and you had like the gills and stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like seeing the different hints you were dropping as what you were leading towards. The EP you dropped before, the Soulville one, which like went off of the last line in the Mirage joint that you sampled.
Yeah.
So I kind of got that connection. That project was fire. It geared us
Thank
up.
you.
It geared us up for the new album in my point of view.
Yes, yeah, it definitely did. Like, I would say, man, you definitely hit it on the nose with the fish out of water. Like, there's this concept that the slaves that jumped off of the slave ships into the water survived and they turned into mermaids. That's by this electronic group, Drexia, I think is where I originally heard it from. My manager told me about them and I was like, wow, that's just like, that's crazy. So that's where conceptually a lot of it comes from. That video, Eyes Closed specifically, was like influenced by it was influenced by a few things, like how it was shot, but conceptually it was influenced by The Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies too.
Yeah, so like horror films, that was another one of the horror films that I was watching for a Japanese horror film. But It's just like, even just learned through the stuff that I learned making other projects, it kind of bled into Fish, and continued with, I'm probably always gonna be into like horror movies and like special effects and stuff like that. So it's just really growing on Fish I know this is the first time I cleared a sample. It's the first time I really used a sample that was like super recognizable if you were to listen to it. I don't really sample too much, but and even when I do, it's like you don't know what it is. And I would just say there's a whole bunch of things that I tried to do differently. Like I wanted to make this one more down to earth. Fish are in the water, which is below the earth. In some places, you're above sea level. In some places, in a lot of places. So it's just like I feel like they're. I'm a Pisces as well, so the fish concept throughout my music is inherent. It's probably gonna still be there after this, but this is I feel like all right. Let me really kind of like dive into the concept of like I guess being I wouldn't say counted out, but like not necessarily like being the underdog or like fish don't climb trees, like the people saying this is not what you do, being boxed in, anything like that. It's like, okay, I may not do that, but I excel in so many other things, or I may be able to do that even if it's not, climb a tree or whatever, hypothetically speaking. But it's more so the concept of like overcoming any, I guess, limitations, whether that be internal limitations or external limitations. So definitely wanted to make it feel more down to earth and make it feel more real. Not as like supernatural as a lot of my other work. It's a lot more just life, kind of like mature bars. I mean, obviously there's still the metaphysical stuff. That's just how I write, the surrealist nature of the way that I write. But I wanted to make it capital real and surreal, you know what I'm saying? So like make it more like, okay, this is something that a lot of people go through, a lot of people more so will resonate with. A lot of the different songs, there's different vibes. Like Tourniquet is a completely different vibe that I do with, like, I make songs like that with Kent, but like for myself, I don't necessarily release anything like that. So Tourniquet is, like 808 heavy, and obviously Bora Bora.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah. Bora Bora.
That shit's chill though, bro. You can vibe to it like out on the beach or some shit, like some late night vibe.
Thank you, bro. So yeah, even just like really stretching myself and like what I can do sonically, like whether that's the beat on Bora Bora, because that's like probably one of the more complex beats that I've ever made, that had the most layers in it, that had like it had so much going on throughout the entire beat. And I was like discovering so much about how to use what I had, as far as like my instruments when I was making Bora Bora, and like, stretching what I had, instruments that I already had, but just like really just like, I don't know, like it wasn't so out of the box that it's like, what is this? But it's like, it was used it in such a different way for me that it felt like something completely new. It's like down tempo, dubbish type of sound rap. So it was definitely one of my favorites. And it's just like, just experiment really was just the point that I was trying to get across. There's a lot of different vibes, that I ultimately wanted on Fish. But, I definitely wanted it to make it feel like concise, ultimately make it feel like a complete thought and not a drawn out thought, and not like too much of, I don't know, I just wanted it to feel real. Like I didn't want it to feel like too supernatural or too apathetic or too like, anything. I wanted it to feel like, damn, this is real. So definitely that's really my only intention behind it. Obviously get better musically. Writing wise, I think it's my best penmanship, because I've learned to structure stuff, and I've just learned how to like, I would say I've learned how to, like I said, like kind of compress these very complex ideas into very short phrases and things like that.
Great Theory is one of my favorite joints on there. You got the Gallardo sample on there, bro. When I heard that
Thank you.
shit, I was like, yo, is that Gallardo? What the hell?
It is. I'm glad you caught it. I feel like there's some people who may not know who he is. There's probably a lot of people.
Well, they
who,
better find out.
literally, but yeah, Gallardo, he's a hometown legend. You feel me? So I hit him up, talked to him about it, and you know he was down originally. I wanted him to record something, but then I found something of him like just already talking about what I wanted him to record.
Yeah.
So it just worked out perfectly. Shout out to Gallardo. I sent it to him. He was fucking with it. So yeah, man, he's a legend, and definitely always want to give, you know, credit to people that I influence, or not I influence, but people that influence me.
Absolutely.
Like Sun Ra's on there. Larry June is another vocal sample on there. West Side Gun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a few different people where I'm just like, all right, these are people that I really respect in whatever field they're in. And Gallardo is definitely one of those people. Like I wear, anytime I put on all gray, I'd be like, Gallardo. You feel like,
Yeah, right.
like
Team Gray.
Literally. So it's just like, shout out Gallardo. He has a whole movement that I feel like he knows about, but I don't know if he knows the effect of it.
Yeah, he's got that like cult following.
Yeah. He's a legend. He's a legend.
So do you plan to do any like other videos for the project? I know you got the Mirrors one.
Yeah.
Which kind of closes out the album, and then Eyes Closed.
Yeah. Definitely. That's what I'm here for now. Is to work on videos and stuff. So like
perfect.
You know, we're trying to shoot. Spirits is actually already done. So that one should be out soon, probably around the time the album releases. But yeah, that one's done. And I'm trying to shoot 2 more videos. Hopefully one for Days, and then one for Great Theory.
Ooh, Great Theory would be a sick one.
Yeah. So we're gonna have all that within the next couple months, and yeah, man, I'm just excited. Honestly, like I'm just really excited to get it out. I've heard it, and I've been sitting with it for a while, and so it's just excited to see. I'm excited to see what people gravitate to on the album. And now we have the resources to like cater to whatever people gravitate to, and take notes on what people are gravitating to in a more effective way. So I'm excited, bro. I'm excited.
All right, I want to talk about No More of Me. That one's one of my favorite tracks.
Shout out.
The video is crazy.
Thank you. Shout out to Jadu, and I want to say it was Jadu. Yeah, he's a beast. Like he basically, that song, they hit me up and they were like, "Yo, we want you to do something," and you know they sent me a few, I think, and that one was the one that I was like, oh, this one's crazy. And or maybe they just sent me that beat. I just remember me getting that beat from them and being like, damn, I can definitely do something with this. Like, this is right up my alley. So
yeah,
you know, just did the song, and then, you know, a couple months later, they wanted to shoot the video. So, you know, we went out to Cali and shot it out there. And yeah, I didn't know that they were gonna do all the special effects and shit though. That it's crazy because I didn't see that until the video came out.
really?
Yeah, so they sent me a rough cut that didn't have any of that, and I'm like, all right, yeah, this is a fire video. You know what I'm saying? It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came out, it had the special effects, and I'm like, yo, like what? Because I had never had like, and I think that sparked me wanting to like dig more into effects and prosthetics and stuff like that. And but yeah, shout out Jadu. Tambala might be on that one as well, but I know Jadu for sure. And he was out there with us. Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you plan on doing like a small tour for the album? I'd love to see a St. Pete or Tampa show, preferably St. Pete, but
We definitely are trying. We got a few. We got the LA show. We got one coming up in New York as well. I got something planned in St. Pete. It's not a show.
okay.
But I definitely want something like a show. Like I would love to do a show here. But that's something that we're planning now. Definitely more so. We'll see. I guess what's happening after the album, just because who knows, honestly. But yeah, we got so far for the like release parties. We have L.A., New York, and then basically St. Pete. We pretty much, pretty much, yeah. We're gonna have like some type of release party here, so yeah, it'll definitely be dope. But yeah, shows are definitely coming soon. New albums obviously coming soon. Like Fish is done. I'm working on something right now that I'm not about to drop, but it's probably gonna drop more so towards the end of this year, if not the beginning of next year. So
Okay, cool.
it's definitely just like, bro,
Shit, I'm waiting on that one.
you know what I'm saying? Snowballing. We're building it up. We're definitely building it up, and it's a process and it's fun. I think the funnest part is doing it as an adult now, and having more like, I guess, say in what's going on. You know what I mean? Having more input into how things are operated and how things are being I would say like pushed. Not that we've always had a lot of input, but now we have more resources to influence the vision, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely fun.
So when you're not making music, what's some of your favorite things to do?
Oh man, I used to skate a bunch. I went to the skate park recently and it was fun. But I like to like make clothes. I like to draw. I draw a lot as far as like flyers and stuff. I like to really just make art, collages, digital artwork, really everything, make beats. I mean, paint. I'm about to get into painting. Like there's a whole bunch. I mean, I've painted for a while, but when I was younger, and then I kind of just stopped when I started getting heavily into music, and picked it up around Pick Bass, and then just kind of only started. I really picked up watercolor for a while, because it was more like, it wasn't as like, it was more amorphous. I think that's one thing that I liked about watercolor. But yeah, just art, bro. If it's not music, it's visual art. If it's not sonic art, it's visual art. Whether that's clothing, whether that's pieces, whether that's cover arts, stuff like that. Really just going out in nature, just vibing, and living, bro. Like enjoying being alive. That's something that I feel like I'm appreciating as I get older. You know what I'm saying? Definitely just like stopping and smelling the roses and just enjoying stuff, little things. Just like stepping back, honestly, like really like, like growing. I got a girl, so really spending a lot of time with my girl, traveling and stuff like that. So like, just life, bro.
Living life.
Just life, bro. Honestly, just life.
So do you make most of your like cover artwork, like a lot of that collage work from back in the day and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's out of necessity. Like, we didn't have money to pay people to make artwork, so we had to make it. and over the years, I got a lot better, and now it's like something that it's a service that I can provide to other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do it for myself mainly, and pretty much for everything. Any artwork that I need, like formatted or whatever, for like vinyl and stuff, I usually do that all myself. It's just like, I feel like through the process you just learn a lot more, and the weight of what you have it's a lot I guess heavier, more effective. It's like you just know more, and you're more into it. So I definitely think that, yeah, something that focusing on.
Hell yeah. Well, all right, brother. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
I really appreciate this episode, bro. I had a lot to talk to you about. I was like ready for it. I was like, bro, we got to do it while you're here. I was
Thank
like,
you.
I ain't letting this opportunity pass.
I appreciate you having me, man. This is awesome.
I feel like the city needed something like this.
This is awesome. Thank you.
So that was episode 18 of the Jit Camp Bonfire podcast. You can find him at Chester Watson on Instagram. Do you have any like websites you want to plug or anything?
Just chesterwatson.co. That's the new website. chesterwatson.co.
And you can find me at JitCamp727 and on jitcamp.com, where a jit can be a jit. Peace.
Dose.
Yeah. Well, alright. Hey, I caught a wave. I caught a wave. Hold on. Hey, I caught a vibe and loop me, smoking papaya fruit. I got a bitch, she ruthless. I always tell her the truth. I'm kinda scared of her. Them bands, I ain't scared of them. Boy, I get straight to the money. I need them blue honeys. I need them red 50s. Got your bitch getting bread with me, and she got a little head on her, so she give me the head. A lot of these niggas is going outside. I took the different route, got money instead. Only thing I'm focused on is a bag. Run around, I got one in the head. These niggas clowns shit be funny, don't come around me, the buddy, we bustin' your head. Came from the ground, it was muddy, gram to a pound, there was nothing, I did what I said. I start talking money, they switch the subject. They sleeping on me, wonder if they up yet. She peeping me, she tryna see who I'm with. Girl, don't do nothing that you gonna regret. I put my Nikes on and run up a check. Tunnel vision, bought my shit 2020. I don't see nothing if it ain't in front of me. Can't focus on the past, that shit under me. Cash coming quickly and abundantly. In a week, I run through about 100 leaves. Bustin' down, fill 'em up with funky. I be on that tree like a monkey. Pocket scale, weigh a couple skunky. You know I got it, come and get it from me. Nigga play, we beat 'em like a drum. Count money till my fingers numb. Tequila, nigga, I don't do the rum. You wanna slide, I tell her she can't come. She always catching feelings when we done. Up early morning, gotta beat the sun. Treat every day like it's the last one.
I count to 10 while rolling up a blunt. Got options, never know when I can run. She poppin' pussy while I load the gun. We poppin' pussy, we the chosen one. Catch a play like Randy, I'm a savage. Bag stuff with lettuce from the cabbage. Touch it, flip it, stack it, don't subtract it. Niggas talking crazy, let them have it. Hop in the whip and swerve it if I wanna. We come from the block, but now my niggas own us. Used to be Arizonas and Coronas. Now we serve Chardonnay until the morning. Wake up and smell the cushy when I light it. Wake up and grab a tushy cause I like it.
Great minds take a like and she a psychic. I come round every time and she excited. If you love it, then I like it. I got gold touch like a Midas. My bitch roll the Dutch while she driving. I'm just getting this paper left and right. Fuck 12, but I'm not law abiding. You gotta watch it back cause they spying. She say she never met nobody like me. I say, baby girl, I'm not surprised.